Lynx, the other Landau sibling, is out with Fu Xuan. How strong is he? How do you play her? Let's go over it. 100 speed, pretty average. Basic attack, scales off HP. Skill, heals a single target just like Natasha, but also increases the target's max HP. And if you use your skill on a character that is destruction or preservation, they will get increased aggro. If someone who has the E buff gets hit, Lynx gets 2 energy. Kinda cool. Ult, pretty much the same thing as Natasha AoE ult, but cleanses 1 debuff from all your allies. This is our first AoE cleanse, which is pretty good. Her talent is simply put, whenever she heals with her skill or her ult, your teammates get a regen. And lastly, her technique grants all your allies the regenning healing from her talent for 2 turns. Now Lynx is pretty much like Natasha. Her skill and ult are the same, and if you compare their numbers on their healing, they're pretty much the exact same thing. With Lynx edging out a little bit because she can apply regen on her ult while Natasha can only apply regen on her skill. The biggest 2 differences are the aggro on destruction and preservation by using her E, and the AoE debuff cleanse. Does that make her completely power creep Natasha? I don't think it's wrong to say so, but there is one case where Lynx is worse. Let's just say you're in Kafka's fight and she dominates one character. You're using Lynx, so you likely want to ult immediately to cleanse to dominate. But then shortly after, Kafka will likely use her hard-hitting AoE ability. And at that point, you don't have her ult to heal your team. In contrast, Natasha could have just saved her ult and E to cleanse the dominate. But aside from that case, AoE cleanse is really strong in pretty much every other case, especially with new enemies like the Swarm applying so much wind shear on the entire team. Quick Eidolon overview. E1, increase healing for low HP allies. E2 is pretty nice. When you use your E on an ally, they can resist 1 debuff. E3 upgrades skill and basic attack. E4 gives a slight attack boost when you use your E on an ally. It's not that much, it only lasts for 1 turn, but it's there. E5, level of ult and talent, pretty cool, just extra healing. And lastly, E6, when you use your E on an ally, it gives them more max HP and boosts their effect res. All in all, decent Eidolons, but I don't think any of them are to die for, should perfectly work well at E0. Quick light cone recommendations. Any of the commonly recommended light cones for abundance work pretty much fine. Post-op is good, perfect timing is good, quid pro quo is good. Multiplication is fine, but I would recommend boosting her healing since she heals like Natasha. So I would probably go with post-up if you have it, but really depends on which light code you have and maybe whichever ones you have higher superimpositions. Main role in the team, she's a healer, so she's the solo sustainer. Now because her E gives aggro to destruction and preservation units, a lot of people have been talking about pairing Lynx with destruction characters like Blade and Clara. Especially Blade because Lynx is able to buff HP as well. Now the thing about this is because Lynx heals and plays like Natasha, I think Lynx may struggle healing Blade as he continually consumes HP. Yes, with higher aggro, Blade will get more follow-up attacks on average and likely heal himself more, but in between those follow-up attacks, Lynx may not be able to keep up with Blade's HP consumption with just the occasional ult, so you may have to skill multiple times and you're gonna have to skill him anyways. And in some cases, you want to save her ult to AoE cleanse, so that just adds extra restriction on Lynx's ability to heal him. And since you have to use Lynx's skill on Blade, you're going to have less SP economy, which can be very restrictive if you're running Blade with like Bronya. So in that case, even if Lynx gives Blade aggro and buffs his HP, I think Luocha is a much better and safer pick just because he can easily heal him and gives a lot of HP to Blade's team, which is especially needed if you play Blade with Bronya. And with Clara, I think Lynx is perfectly fine. Because of Clara's damage reduction and potential healing output with her light cone, she won't require as much healing from Lynx as Blade does. So Lynx will have a much easier time healing Clara, and the extra aggro will help when Clara doesn't have her ult up. How do you build her? Quick and simple. Body healing bonus, boot speed, sphere HP, rope, energy regen. Substats, try to focus on speed and HP, and then other defensive stats, especially effect res if you're going for that effect res set that boosts crit damage. I'm not counting ER breakpoints on the healer because energy depends on whether or not you need to use your skill to heal more. Artifact set wise, you can do 2-piece healing, 2-piece HP, 2-piece speed, 2-piece guard, or literally anything you want. You can just aim for main stat, it doesn't really matter, she's your healer just as long as she has the stats on her artifacts. I would say 2-piece HP and 2-piece speed are nice because they're both in the same domain and you're likely not going to be farming 2-piece healing. As for Planar set, really easy, just use one of the support ones that buffs your team's either attack or crit damage. Remember, if you want to use the crit damage buff for your team, you're going to need some effect res on your substats. So how strong is she, and where is her place meta-wise? Since she plays very similarly to Natasha, I don't think she'll match Luocha and Japard's level. However, I think she is in the same category as Bailu, and in some cases maybe better than Bailu. While Bailu has much more raw healing, she has no utility other than the res, while the AoE cleanse on Lynx's ult can be very valuable. And her E buffs are nice too if your team needs it. So is she worth the pull? As with other 4 stars, I don't think pulling for her specifically is worth the Stellar Jades. But if you're specifically pulling for Fu Xuan, I don't think getting her is a bad thing at all. Especially if you're pulling for Fu Xuan and you don't have Luocha or Japard, Lynx can be a good healer for your second team. Now lastly, people have been talking about Fu Xuan and Lynx enabling mono quantum teams. The problem with mono quantum is I don't think Lynx is a good fit in that team. In a mono quantum team, you're likely going to have Silverwolf, Sealy, and Fu Xuan. Since Fu Xuan is such a strong defensive character herself, there's no reason for you to put Lynx in that team. So the last option has to be Qingque because she's the only other quantum unit. And that's it for the quick and simple Lynx guide. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more future guides and discussions soon. And I wish you all the best on your Lynx pulls.